Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving me voice. Today, I will talk about research of Bucharest uh, Technological University. Review is entitled Anaerobic Decodigestion, a way to potentiate the synergistic effects of multiple substrate and microbial diversity. In the paper, uh, published in research number of energies. There is mixture of different substrate and their influence to microbial growth and different techniques. The reason is that anaerobic digestion is fine technology if reach 80% of methane in batch products. Therefore, is one another method to replace traditional resources of natural gas, so replace the fuel cell engines and to generate heat and power and can be pumped into gasket. Is also stability and economic quality of obtained digest. Treatment with the provisions that assume the reduction of recovery waste and within the circular economy. Furthermore, we recover the phosphorus that from the digest state that is very important to find now mining method due to higher depletion. Uh, and these four steps of anaerobic digestion are hydrolysis, acidogenesis, acetogenesis, and metagenesis. The fourth step in anaerobic digestion of organic matter, carried out by a syntropic bacteria consortium. The bacteria consortia involved in the anaerobic digestion process are influenced by a number of factors, namely pH value, mixing ratios, additives, toxicity, organic loading rate, and dilution rate. The optimum value of the used substrate is 25:1. Higher results in lower methane concentration in biogas, whereas substrate with carbon to nitrogen ratio that is too low lead to ammonia accumulation in the digester and inhibit methane production. A suitable carbon nitrogen ratio can be obtained by co-digestion substrate rich in carbon. Therefore, we see that can be justification in installing combined heat and power processes. The aim of review is to see latest research in the field related to advantages of different mixture, pretreatment, and possibility of improving digested as secondary way. Anaerobic digestion has and monodigestion has and have the advantage that says enhancing the meta yield. It's different because not always, and low meta yield, which is not also. Of course, mostly cases yes, but it depends on bacteria culture and the substrate because not only one, both can be suitable and used. In some cases, high yield methane is to obtain by for example, by upgrading of hydrogen. In both cases, which is suitable seems to be more easily in multi-waste. The increasing organic loading rate and dilution of toxic substances, while he claimed that presence of heavy metals and chemical inhibitors are untrue, because in both cases are toxic substances. But yes, the if the same and is intoxicated with heavy metals, is for sure higher than with different scale. But this is also depending. Generally is yes in some species, because so for some species of waste it's not. Digestive instability, and these are comparing adapt pairing. The food waste, I understand, is including food waste from the installing, processing of foodstuff, as well as from catering, restaurants, and households, industrial materials from the agro-industrial field, forestry parks, and gardens. Animal manure, sewage sludge resulting from the aerobic treatment of wastewater and various municipal organic solid waste are used for production of biogas. Waste, forestry waste, pulp and paper industry, and its high ratio of carbon nitrogen ratio, which is this forestry waste, pulp and paper waste, fruit and waste, agriculture waste, which give higher usually, but not always, because alga biomass is with low carbon dioxide is very good for anaerobic digestion, and animals manure as themselves, which is excellent for a source of inoculum, so we don't have to increment. And leverage ways are also very troublesome, but mostly to the colorants and paints used to. These are the biggest trouble of tannery waste. And this is all about it. The studies shows that food waste improves, because food waste seems to be the highest method potential, but less than cattle rumor and dairy, or chicken manure is much less than food waste. So this is change. But for example, alga waste are on the level usually of higher than chicken manure. So this is depends of the research. They chose such to decide. So yeah, this is showing, and from this case, from food waste and waste activated sludge, the highest was municipal solid waste and solids in glass bottle of 100. Yes, so it's batch process give us 700 methane per gram of waste. But remember that is not its batch. So true in case of higher is using, for example, better in case mix of microalgae and food waste. And also 120 gives even similar to municipal waste and solid waste, and brown water and food waste is very well, because it gives 600 also, but in a two stage, and 10 liters to 35 liters, so very high, and mesophilic conditions. We need to remember also that usually thermophilic are better, but you for some scale, for high value scale can be applied, but for uh, low scale it seems too high and not so effective due to high requirements of heat, because this method thermophilic requires temperature 55 to 60. And in case of continuation, over interesting is feedstock is olives with food waste treated with hydroxide sodium, which with also high amounts of methane, even 500, and in 6-liter reactor. So these are used with some results for consideration, and makes genetics and clonings as polymerase chain reaction and polymorphisms are often used to check the microbial diversity. So this is the chain acids, and we need to. And another problems is to produce action of enzyme for protein, cellulose, and lipids. These high protein content substrates are hydrolyzed to amino acids. These are the trouble how to use, but bacteria are tried to be modified for production, and for example also fungi to produce enough amounts of enzymes which are suitable for improving the reaction, and some nutrients as nitrogen, as ammonia sulfate, or iron as salts of nickel are important to improve hydrogenase and then methane production by upgrading. So this is the case, and these are few methods with few additions. So yeah, and management of digestment is end of products condigestion presents a higher bioavailability, and through rapid digest present in feedstock of monodigest obtained from feedstock such as causes a number of environmental issues such as increase of soil salinity, ecotoxicity, and phytotoxicity, or the accumulation of heavy metals. So that's soon. And liquid fraction is also important. Is used how to use bioacetics. Can be if you unused use as cosmetics. Voltaic acid and biochar is can be used as fertilizer and production of some polymers or some even additions to for the methane production, because adding helps can help improve uh, efficiency of methane production. That's mm, the final press is such that challenges are incompatible feedstock due to variation in pH levels, nutrition compositions, particle sizes, and the anaerobic digestion may be less effective with some forms of organic waste. Process control and monitoring, temperature, pH, and nutrient levels, needs to be carefully controlled during uh, anaerobic co-digestion to generate perfect conditions for microbial activity, handling and pre-treatment of feedstock. Some feedstocks, such as food waste or agricultural residue, may require additional handling or pretreatment before they can be fed to the anaerobic digestion process. Potential for upsets might experience process disruption and reduce productivity because they are susceptible to alteration in the environment and the feedstock nature. Other and air emissions, anaerobic digestion can produce odors and air pollutants, which need to be regulated to meet standards and have as little of an influence on nearby areas as possible. Expensive operating maintenance and building costs. Thank you very much for listening to me.